As we are all aware, that the internet basically, and being able to speak freely on the internet, has now come to a point to where it is the main place that you're able to speak. We're now at a place to where they're trying to challenge that and make it to where you have government oversight on an unprecedented level, and you have no right to privacy online. Tank also has some things to share, and Tank, take it away, introduce us, and do whatever you got to do.
All right, folks. Yeah, as David said earlier, we are going to be covering some of the stuff that the government is trying to institute. They are, never leave an emergency unused to enact unconstitutional laws, and it's gotten pretty damn stupid. With everything that's happening in the world right now. I can't imagine that we would need any more laws that we already have trouble following as it is. So, again, why not? They never use an emergency for anything good. They always use everything to limit our rights instead of just letting us get through the emergency first. Look at 9/11, how many alphabet agencies were reinstituted during that time. So, I can only see more bad stuff coming down the pipe. They're already wanting to basically run our lives by, in most of the cities and stuff going on right now, they're already putting the National Guard in to help distribute food and everything else. And in some states, they're already pulling people over for violating the order of staying inside your house.
So, and that's already California here for us. We just received information from Tehama County yesterday that said that they will be enforcing the laws, and for the most part, the laws that thus far are not that invasive. And if you need to go to the store, you need to go to the doctor, you need to go to something important, you have that. There's also things in there as far as they deem exercise necessary, so you can go to the national parks. But aside from that, if you're caught going out to just go out and hang out, you can face a misdemeanor and up to 6 months in jail for it, and I believe it's $1,000 fine. What? So it's not getting extremely serious yet, but this is just the start of it. And we also have the National Guard that just got implemented 2 days ago.
Well, and the crazy thing is I have a feeling that basically everything that they're doing, keeping all businesses and everything shut down. I mentioned this earlier on a video that I did today. We're literally living the same type of scenario that they lived in the Great Depression. People are losing their jobs. There's nothing that they can do. It's a different scenario, meaning that we're not in the middle of a drought. We're in the middle of a war with the virus, but at the same time, we're going through the same thing. The stock market's crashing. People are losing their jobs left and right. I, for one, now have filed unemployment. And I've never done that in the 40. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna kill my cats.
Shit happens. My cat got me last time. It's only fair that your stream gets got by the cats of course. This time.
Give me a second. I'll be right back.
No worries. I'll carry it away. I'll get started on the next bill. There's a lot that's to this, and it seems like there has to be a lot more that's actually going on and taking place for a lot of these things to take the action that they're trying to take. And quite frankly, it's scary. We've got 28 states that now have imposed National Guard.
Go down, Cleo.
All back?
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
No worries. I was just taking the time. I was talking about the 28 states that now have National Guard presence.
Yeah.
And individuals that were going over this. But
My
it
sorry about that. Yeah, and the thing is, I've got friends up here in Alaska that are waiting to be called up. Whether or not they will or not, who knows? But I'll definitely be on the short list to find out when that happens. Uh, it's something that's pretty serious. I mean, if you think about everything that's going on in the country, especially with the unemployment rate, it's going to skyrocket. It already pretty much has. They're going to bankrupt the country. Yeah, I said earlier today on the video that I did that we're looking at, basically living under socialism. The government's attempting to take care of us the best way that they know how, but at the same time, how much money are they going to print? That's the thing, and how long are we going to be able to go and I just bought a house. I mean,
yeah,
it's been since October since we moved in, and it's been what 6 months maybe, and there's just not enough money on unemployment to be able to pay a mortgage. I hate to say that,
no, there's
but
not. I mean, I'm same boat as you are. I ended up getting laid off on this actually right at the start. Back on February 20th, I got laid off from my position, and I was working in an outside sales position. And quite frankly, nobody wants to see a guy when you're basically having a pandemic virus going around who shakes hands with 270 people a year or a month. And we're seeing this more and more. I've heard probably at least 1/3 to 2/3 of the people that I've spoken to said that they got laid off.
right.
And so this is going to be a matter of the unemployment offices that are dealing with all of these problems that are coming through and all the people that are on unemployment. And two, this is going to be a situation of the economics. I mean, I'm not sure if you've been following oil at all, but Exxon has lost well over 60% of its share price, and oil companies have. Most of the stock market has fallen, and unfortunately, I believe personally, it's going to fall another 4 or 5,000 points before it ends up going through.
Well, I mean, we've already lost all the gains and everything that Trump had gained in the stock market since he got elected. I mean, we've lost every bit of it. I mean, we had unprecedented growth across the country for the entire 3 years that he's been in there, and as soon as this pandemic starts or whatever, all of that gain is gone. It took him 3 years to get where he was at, and it's all gone in a matter of like weeks.
Well, we were already destined for a pullback, and I was actually upset, honestly, with Trump for trying to get the what was it, the financial rates, the interest rates down to 0% or below zero.
Right.
And he was trying to do that for a while. And the problem with that is that you have situations right now to where the same problems that happened in 2008 are probably going to be occurring now. We have some restrictions in place as far as what governments can do and what people can do to kick people out who are not paying. But the thing that I think is completely unfair is that we're going through and we're saying, okay, well, you don't have to pay your rent and you can't be evicted. So what's that going to do to the people that have the loan on the actual property that you're in?
Right.
So overall, I mean, it's not like it solves everything to just turn around and say, oh, you don't have to pay your rent, because the person who's actually paying the bill on the property you live on may evict them and basically foreclose on them, and then you're out of a place to live in anyway. It doesn't actually work that simply, and that's more of a California thing, but it's still dumb as sin.
Well, I have a friend of mine here in Alaska that rents a building, and he's paying a lot. I mean, he pays $5,000-6,000 a month for a business, and he's been told you got to close up. You can't do this. So he's going to be out the money that he would make to keep his business open, plus the house. He's got 2 or 3 kids. The wife I don't think works. I think she stays at home and takes care of the kids. So literally, they're going to be in debt up to their eyeballs. If they can do it. And here's the thing, and this is the scary thing, is the building that he rents is owned by the city. So unless the city um, is able to figure out a way. And here's the thing: was the building he's in, he got it cheap because he had to talk them down. They wanted like 10 grand. So $5,000 or whatever his rent is only half of what they really wanted for the place. So are they going to end up working with him on this whole thing? And with it being a city building, who knows? Even though the city is the one who basically put us under the restrictions, saying that you can't leave the house, all this other stuff. So let's talk a little bit about some of the stuff that the government is wanting to implement. One of them has something to do with not letting us have encryption on our internet. And we know that in the past that that the DOJ has wanted to break into iPhones, things like that, for different criminals and all that kind of stuff. And Apple has kept them at bay a few times. And
to some extent, I mean, some of it, there's already some things that have been determined that are, in my opinion, completely against our Constitution. One of them being that if you have, for instance, a fingerprint on your phone, your fingerprint is not considered to be a password. It is not considered to be part of your personal rights, which it's literally on your body. So I don't understand that. But by the same token, if an officer rolls up on you and you may or may not have something incriminating on your phone, if you have a fingerprint sensor on your phone, you can turn around and be told by the officer that you have to turn around and unlock your phone in order to access that data. And that is based upon the Supreme Court constitutional. So we've got these laws that are already slipping, but the important one that Tank was mentioning just a little bit ago is there is a bill called the Earn It Bill. And they actually had a hearing on it today. And this is an article from EFF.org. I'll read the beginning of it. I'll encourage everybody to go out there and start writing your congressmen, your senators, and everybody that you possibly can to get this to not go through, because this is the end of your freedoms when it comes to online. So imagine the internet where the law required every message sent to be read by government-approved scanning software. Companies that handle such messages wouldn't be allowed to securely encrypt them, or they'd lose legal protections that allow them to operate. The so-called Senate Judiciary Committee proposed in the hopes to pass into law the so-called Earn It Bill, sponsored by Senators Lindsey Graham and Richard Bartholomew. It will strip Section 230 protections away from any website that does not follow the list of best practices, and meaning those sites can be sued into bankruptcy if they don't follow. The best practices list will be created by government commission, headed by Attorney General Barr, who has made it very clear he'd like to ban encryption and guarantee law enforcement legal access to any digital message. The Earn It Bill had its first hearing today, and supporters' strategy is clear because they don't put the word encryption into the bill. They're going to insist it doesn't affect encryption. The bill says nothing about encryption whatsoever. Co-sponsor Senator Bartholomew said at today's hearing, "Have you found the word bill encryption within anywhere within the bill?" asked one witness. It's true the bill's authors avoided using that word. They proposed legislation that enables all-out assault on encryption. It would create a 19-person commission that's completely controlled by the Attorney General, law enforcement agencies, and the hearing. A vice president at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children made it clear what he wants best practicing to be. He said he believes online services should be made to screen their messages and materials that NCMEC considers abusive, using that screening technology approved by NCMEC and law enforcement to report what they find in messages to NCMEC and to law enforcement, and be held legally responsible for the content of messages sent by others. So they're starting off on this as a commission to turn around and protect children, which none of us are against. But the problem is that this is infringing on the constitutional laws to be able to say you're innocent until proven guilty, you have the right to privacy, you're able to go through and turn around and conduct your speech in a way to where it's not going to be overheard constantly. And anymore, most people don't turn around and have face to face meetings. So, literally, what this is going to open the door to, if this is passed, is it's going to be a blanket across all internet messages that they will be screened by government. If they are not inclined to believe what you believe, you can basically be prosecuted or banned. And we're basically talking about becoming China. And the worst portion about all of this is on this 19 panel, you have the attorney general who is able to veto anything. So you have one person who's able to veto anything on all of this. I'll read this portion of it. Not only do the groups have a majority of votes in the commission, but the bill gives Attorney General Barr the power to veto or approve the list of best practices, even if the commission members do disagree with law enforcement. Barr's veto power will put him in a position to strong arm them. And so this is literally a situation where it's the first step to be able to make all online messages, one, be unencrypted, two, have to go through government surveillance on every message you send anyone, complete violation of our Constitution. And this is something that we have to get in front of, because otherwise they're going to use this pandemic to pass it before you even have a chance to know what's going on. 2 years down the line, it's not just going to be for protecting children, which I'm, again, all about. I know Dustin's all about. And if we heard anything about bad things happening to children, we're going to be all over it. But by the same token, this is how they slip things in.
Well, here's what's going to end up happening, and we all kind of understand how the government works and all that kind of stuff. So what's going to end up happening is if two people get together and they're asserting their opinion against, the government agency or whatever, and they're doing it online, and it doesn't matter exactly what it is. I mean, it could be a political statement, it could be all kinds of different things. But what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up having something that goes right through, a government source. And if they deem that you are, if they deem that you are dangerous or a threat, then you're going to end up getting rounded up and either thrown in jail or disappeared or whatever. It gives them ultimate right to basically shut you down. It can cost you your job. It can cost you your freedom. And I guarantee you that 90% of the people that I deal with on a regular basis don't trust the government as it is. And we're going to end up handing over everything that we've gained in the last 3 or 4 years, if we've gained anything at all. And it's one of those things where, again, I said it at the beginning of the video, the government never wastes an emergency. They didn't with 9/11. And here's the thing that kills me. Okay, so when we had 9/11, we shut down all air travel coming in and out of the country, everything. And it was like that for 2 weeks. They built a new alphabet agency, with the TSA, and then they started doing screenings, and then they opened up air travel back up. Why they didn't do that with this virus when they knew that it was going to be a global pandemic, I don't know. They could easily shut down air travel for 2 weeks, not let anybody in or out, make sure that the people that were coming in were screened a little bit better. I mean, for crying out loud, whenever they brought the people from China into the United States, they flew them into Anchorage first, let them off in our airport, screened them, put them back on an airplane, and sent them off. And luckily at the time we didn't end up getting any cases, but the risk for it, and unless they shut down that terminal, I don't know, but the risk for it's like, why risk it? You know what I mean? I mean, we have got way too much to lose, and it's like the government doesn't really give a shit. They want to make sure that they have that control over us, whether it's money, whether it's food, whether it's gas, whatever it is, they want that control over us.
Well,
they're turning us into China.
Too, I can't help but go off the deep end on this, because there are so many things. It's like Epstein. It doesn't add up. Why was it on 9/11 that we had our air traffic control centers shut? Why was it that we had a lot of these facilities shut down? I hate to say it, and I'm one of the last people to want to believe the bad about our government. But at the same token, when you go through and you look at what actually took place on 9/11 and the amount of warnings that they had beforehand, I can't help but think they wanted to do it to push through the Patriot Act and also be able to go to war. I mean, at the end of the day, with what actually took place there, why would you close down all of these different places that were going to be keeping our security safe? And why would you go through and make it to where somebody could pull off something like this unless they were in on it? And the Patriot Act, one of the things I read about it, if you purchase more than 500 rounds of ammunition, you can be considered a domestic terrorist. And there's a lot of things on the Patriot Act that are completely unconstitutional that they pushed through during that time. And it really concerns me looking at this right now and seeing that they're trying to basically take control of the entire internet and the entire messages. Every single message you send, be it your phone, be it online, be it anywhere else, right now, this law that they're pushing through in the hearing today, it's going to make it to where you are going to have every message you send sent through a scanner, and it's literally going to take 2 lines of code, and whatever they want to focus on is going to be in that scanner. So if you're a patriot organization that's saying, hey, we don't want our constitutional rights to be infringed upon, next thing you know, you're going to be basically pulled aside by a government official before you ever even knew you had a chance.
Hey, David, I'm going to stop you real quick. There's something going on your end, video wise. Coming in, you're starting to get blurry. You're starting to hang up a little bit. I don't know if it's through Skype or what the deal is. All my stuff, I'm watching the video on Facebook right now as well as talking on here. Your video is starting to get scaled down, and some of the speech is starting to get laggy. So I don't know if there's something that you can do on your end. So far on mine, it's not doing that on my side. I don't know if there's a setting or something like that you can adjust or not, or maybe it's just the internet. I don't know. Maybe
I'll remove the back portion of the other thing that we had and just make it black. We'll see if that helps.
You're still blurry. I just want to make sure you get the best picture possible.
I'll tell you what. We'll end the Skype call that you and I. Oh, we can't do that.
Yeah, if we end up the Skype call, then we end up. Well, I mean, you can call back and I can get you back in. Let's see. I got people messaging me and everything else right now, so they're gonna have to wait.
Okay, I'll give you a call right back.
All right, sounds good. So David is going to take a little bit of a break and come back on, and we got an internet lag issue, and there he is right there. Let me see if I can get him back in. Video. David, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to see if this fixed the video side. Hey, I can see you kind of halfway clear now. I think, let's see. Down. Yeah, now you're huge. Down a little bit.
You're huge on mine too now.
Oh, you just disappeared. Where the hell did you go? Trying to get you scaled in here. Bear with us for a second, folks. Working on getting David in the picture. That's not too bad.
We'll just work with it. I don't think we have too much to go over.
No,
there's a few things that I'm seeing. One of the big things that I want to point out, it gets back to the economic side of things, is this is as of Yahoo News today. It says the chief executives of the largest U.S. airlines companies asked Congress Saturday for urgent help avoiding widespread layoffs among the industry's 750,000 employees. Unless worker payroll production grants are passed immediately, many of us will be forced to take draconian measures such as furloughs, the CEO said in a letter to leaders of both houses. And I was looking at it personally just to see what was actually taking place, what was going on. Round-trip airline flights right now are down to like $35. And nobody's flying, which is a good thing, but by the same token, it is such a thing to where you got 750,000 people whose livelihoods are responsible for what's taken place.
Right.
And with where we were at before and talking about these things, the biggest thing that I want to see is a fake virus. And I'm not willing to say it's a fake virus because, granted, people have lost their lives, but the bird flu so far, as of Obama's presidency, was way worse than this.
Well, and yeah, exactly. I mean, the numbers and stuff like that just don't seem to want to match up. And I think we've allowed our government too much power. And I don't want anyone to get sick. That's one of the the one thing I do want to stress. I don't want anyone to get sick. I don't think it's fake, but at the same time, I think that they kind of went overboard on it. I mean, if you look at the numbers from the bird flu and you look H1N1 compared to this, I know that they wanted to be preemptive and they wanted to do all this kind of stuff, but I mean, at what cost? I mean, we're going to end up eventually. The country is basically bankrupt. The gas prices, even up here, we paid $2.25 for gas today. We went and filled up our Jeeps. Now that I know that I'm not going to be working for a little while, and the thing is there's literally no end in sight for whether or not we're going to be shutting down and staying shut down or not. There's no end in sight. So, I have a job if we reopen, but if it continues to go down 3-4 months down the road into August and June and July, I don't know too many businesses that are gonna be able to survive by not taking in some kind of cash to pay their bills. And that's not even employees. That's like, I work in a business where we have, well, let's see here, three times 26. So we got almost 80 motors that we run every day. We have the electric bill, the light bill, that kind of stuff that's basically sitting there. The heating bill, stuff like that. We're in Alaska, so the heating bills are, they're not cheap. He's got no money coming in, and he's still got to keep the place open if it decides to open. So, I know the electric bill in places like that I work usually run between $3,000 and $4,000 a month. With nothing coming in, how long is that sustainable? You're almost to the point where you're going to have to say, you know what, shut the electric off, and hopefully nothing freezes. Hopefully we're getting ready to hit spring, so we're hopefully not going to lose any pipes or anything like that in the building. But I completely understand my boss's position on laying everybody off. It's not something that he wanted to do. And, I already have one employee that's already found another job, luckily for her. And she's going to be going probably out of the state for a few months. It's only a temporary job. It's only for 4 months. It's basically summertime. But, it's more toward her chosen field. But after the summer's over, she's going to need work. And I would love to have a spot for her back on my staff because she's one of the best people that I have working there. But, as far as, like I said, I just bought a house. Our mortgage payment's going to start coming due. And, right now, the foreseeable future, no one knows what's going to happen. I just got word right now our gun shops are still open, but starting tomorrow, all the gun shops, all the places you can buy ammo, all the non-essential places are going to be closing down. And our governor didn't say that it's mandatory, but he told everyone to hunker down. And I want to talk about another thing too that has come up that's driving me absolutely nuts. Everybody's using this term social distancing. That term came up whenever they had the Hong Kong. They've used it before.
Yep.
But they didn't use it like they're using it now. The social distancing thing, what it is it's another form of control. Bar none. They don't want us talking together. They don't want us making plans for things. They don't want us rising up like Hong Kong did. So they've used this term, social distancing. I personally think that this country would be a lot better off if the media were just to be cut off entirely. Don't let the media tell you anything, because what it's doing right now, you got one network telling you one thing and one network telling you another thing, and it's making everything confusing. If you want news, go straight to the sources. Don't go to opinionated news because it's not doing us any good. It's causing nothing but panic.
Even Fox anymore is opinionated news, and a lot of these things, like you're saying, 100% across the board, is that there is a panic that's over this, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If I was above 45 years old or any type of compromised immune system, I would be bunkered down, and I'm sad to see that our government is not focusing more on the individuals who are actually going to be impacted by the virus rather than the individuals who are going to be fine, because the death rate on this thing is really low for most people who are below 45 years old and of healthy immune system. But the problem is like I'm looking on Breitbart News right now, and in the last 24 hours, 793 people have died. But that also has to do with the fact that the vast majority of their population, Italy, the median age before all this stuff started was 45 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that tell you? You've got 60, 70, 80-year-olds who are contracting this virus, and Italy is also, I mean, I'm Italian. I know how it is. I mean, you go up, you greet somebody with a kiss, you give them a hug, you turn around and you show them how much you love them, and you have these big dinners together. And during the time of an epidemic and a virus, it's not really a smart time to be expressing Italian social mannerisms.
Right.
And overall, you want to stay away from me. Like I had the neighbor who came to our door, and I didn't unlock the screen door for him. I know he probably doesn't have coronavirus, but you know what? I'm not taking that chance for my family.
Right.
And
we're starting to see a lot more people up here going to the stores wearing masks and things like that. And I know several people that have been tested now. I don't know anyone that's actually been positive, but I found out what the procedure was, and it doesn't sound pleasant. So, make sure that you are sick. And here's one other thing too: check your temperatures daily, because if you're starting to get hotter than you need to be, or your temperature's starting to fluctuate, you probably need to get in and get some doxycycline or something like that, some kind of antibiotic to start. But I'm going to give some advice here. If you, for the people that are, we're getting ready to hit spring. Many places down in the lower 48 are already starting to warm up, starting to have allergies, things like that. Don't panic if you think you got it. Start doing sinus rinses, and doing the rinses with as hot of water as you can possibly do it, and that you can stand. Because supposedly, now I don't know if there's any truth to this, the virus can't live past a certain temperature. I don't know. This is an internet rumor. I don't know if it's true, but
I've actually heard that as well, and I can confirm it to some extent that it is actually a winter virus. I have a friend of mine who's actually within military, within the DC portions of the government, and he works as a nurse. He did say that this is a winter virus, and as long as you have cooler temperatures, it is going to be increasing in its spread, just kind of like the flu.
Well, it's got to have some incubation. I'm sure there's like an incubation temperature, but the warmer the idea is to keep your sinuses warm. And there was something going around saying drink warm water, all that kind of stuff. So sinus rinses are really good. You use salt water to do that, and I've been doing it daily. Just for for one, I sleep with my mouth open a lot of times. I wake up, my throat's dry. So the first thing I do in the morning is do a sinus rinse. That just kind of cleanses everything out. And you would not believe the stuff that accumulates in your sinuses overnight. It's a lot. So that kind of stuff. Make sure your gas tanks are full. We went and did that today. Luckily, I think we paid like $30 total to fill both the Jeeps up. We were already pretty full from last week, but I actually went and bought some kerosene today for our lanterns, just in case they decide to cut the power off. Luckily I have a fireplace, so if I need to stay warm, I can build a fire in the house. So think about the stuff. It's funny because for years people made fun of preppers, they made fun of conspiracy theories, they made fun of all kinds of stuff, and literally in the last 2 weeks or last month, all the shit that we got given shit for has come true. So, you know what?
Yeah.
All the preppers, all the conspiracy nuts out there, pat yourself on the back because you are right more than you know. Um, our time has come. The only thing that we're waiting on now is to start shooting zombies. And I pray to
Yeah.
God that that happens.
And I hope y'all bastards got some toilet paper before this all ended up
Yeah.
getting, because I think that was the prepping thing that I don't think anybody anticipated to be the first to go.
No. Well, that to be honest with you, one of the funniest things I ever. And now I have a lot of medical stuff because we were prepping and we ran the militia type groups and stuff down south. So we had a lot of medical gear, but the only thing I didn't have in the medical kit that was left was hydrogen peroxide. It took me almost a week and a half to find a store that even had it in stock, and I got lucky and found it in a Carr's grocery store, which is Carr's Safeway, and they had 4 bottles of it. And I didn't buy all 4 because I figure someone else needs it too. So I bought 2 bottles of it, and now I've got hydrogen peroxide here. And you wouldn't think that that would be something that would be that precious, but apparently everyone on the planet thought so. They didn't have any at Costco. They didn't have any at any of the major drugstores or like Walgreens, anything like that. None of it. And I just happened to get lucky, and I had been looking for it for the last 2 weeks, and got lucky and found some. So it's not that critical that you don't have it, but I still haven't found alcohol, baby wipes, anything like that. None of the store.
Yeah,
So
gloves are gone. I mean, one of the things is if you have gloves and you can, like I've got a pair of leather gloves, and it doesn't matter if they're any other kind of gloves, but when I go out, I wear my leather gloves. There's no reason not to. I'll open my doors with them. I'll turn around and I'll put in my keypad on the pin when I'm turning around using it. When I get back to my car, I'll take them off so I'm not infecting the inside of my car, and I'll put them in a bag that's inside of my car and just be on the safe side. I mean, we don't know whether or not this thing is full blown like what they're talking about. We have Gavin Newsom who turned around. He came out and he said that within the next 2 months, there's going to be 56% of California's population which are going to get it.
that's what, 23
And
million or something like that, 27 million. There's
yeah, I mean,
40 million in California, so that's roughly 25 million or so
yeah,
that's
it's
supposed to catch
stupid
this.
amounts of people that are supposed to catch this just within California alone. So we don't know what the end game of it all this is or what not, but by all means avoid any type of problems that you could be creating. Don't go out. I mean, we've got a lot of reports of kids who are going out and spring breaking or considering it as a spring break when they're out, and they're basically all going out and hanging out on the beaches and stuff like that, and they're going to be spreading the stuff, and they're probably going to be killing people because of it.
Well, that was the
Now,
thing was what you're talking about is Florida. For those who haven't been paying attention, Florida, there was a bunch of people out on the beach hanging out, enjoying their spring break, and I think, if I remember right, out of the whole group that was out there on the beach, I think they said that there was like 7 people positive. So if there were 7 people positive and they were not hanging next to their buddies and their friends and everything else, and they pass it on, how many other people in that group is going to start testing positive now? You
well, the
know,
thing that's the most scary about all of this, at least to me, is that you have a 14-day incubation period.
yep.
So you can be contagious on all of this, and it's the only thing that makes sense for the government response that we're seeing. We also have instances right now where, I mean, we're only, what, maybe a month into this, month and 10 days, and we've got China now coming out saying that there's no new cases. I don't believe half the crap I
Mm-mm.
hear from China, and I don't think
Well,
anybody should. But by the same token, there might be a herd immunity that's being founded from this.
well,
There's
they just kicked our media out. So whether they're telling us the truth or not, the fact that they're kicking our media out or our reporters out kind of tells you that they're full of shit.
yeah, and I've got a friend of mine who's actually within the Hong Kong region, and he's more along the lines of the Hong Kong people, and so I'm hoping he's all right. And I talked with him not but a couple days ago, and he said they're blowing this shit way out of proportions. I mean, honestly, you have to understand the death numbers in China versus the death numbers in America. China is so overburdened with people. I'm personally of the opinion this is 100% just an opinion. I'm of the opinion that China released this on their own because there's a lot of things that I have question as far as when the trade treaties went through. You have a group of people that turned around and came to this agreement, and within 3 days, all trade was shut off.
Well,
So you have that.
here's the thing, and what you have that supports you on this, to be honest with you, is the fact that look at all the damage that the Hong Kong protesters are starting to do. And by the way, David, you're starting to disappear again on me in your screen size. So we got to have something going on. And right now I'm showing I've got real good internet. So I don't know if you guys are starting to get laggy or what. Anyway,
our internet real spotty for the last few days, but that's another thing to tell people too is that don't be surprised when the internet goes down. When you've got 1 billion people who are ordered home and they're not able to go out,
they're not going to keep up
going down. Yeah, there's no possible way that the internet's going to be able to stay up to that. They're prepped for their servers to be able to handle the normal amount of people that are on at any given time. And as things get worse, we may end up losing internet completely for hours or days. We don't know.
So I think we covered just about everything, unless you got something else. I know that you got some other stuff that you wanted to do tonight. So I think I've pretty much covered everything that can be covered. You know, if we're going to stay in touch, and if anything new comes up, you know, we can hop back on. Now that we're both unemployed, we kind of got all the time in the world to do stuff. So, you know, wife's already went out and bought paint, so it looks like we're going to paint some cupboards. I've got some honeydew things that I got to get done here at the house. I'm sure that other people do as well. So, you know, hopefully, you know, the people that are married found a spouse that you guys can hang out with and put up with for an extended amount of time. I got a feeling that we're going to see two things at the end of this. One, we're going to have a lot of pregnancies, and two, we're going to have a lot of divorces, and maybe a few murders in the process. I'm not sure. But
I was talking about yesterday. I don't think there's going to be a lot of murders, and that's just from the standpoint I think through things a little bit too much. And when I was thinking through this, dude, you ain't got nowhere to dump the bodies. You're on state lockdown. you can't go anywhere. Like you're going out someplace, you get stopped by the cops, you're jacked, dude. Yeah. Like you gotta rough it through this. And yeah, I think there'll be divorces, and I think there'll be a baby boom.
I don't know, it depends on how big your backyard is. If you have a flower bed or not. Fair. All right. Well, I think I'm good. You got anything else you want to add, David?
Biggest thing I want to do is I want to add a call to action, and the call to action is going to be on the Earn It bill, and you need to get in touch with your local state representatives, and you need to send them an email, give them a phone call, and let them know that you do not support the Earn It bill. And that's going to protect our internet freedoms. That's the main reason why I came on tonight.
Yep.
And we need to stay in front of that. We got to be able to make sure this crap does not go through, because this is going to affect you. It's going to affect your kids, your grandkids, everybody else. I mean, literally, we're talking about the state of union and every person within this country who is going to be having to go through government oversight on every message that they send. So if you don't act now, this is on you.
Yep, 100%. All right, brother. Well, let's get off here and let everybody have their evening back. Thanks for tuning in, folks. And looks like we got a lot of good comments and everything that I got to go through. So stay in touch, and we'll get back on and do this again. This is Tank, and I'm out.